Next, I'd like to welcome up Matt Malinowski, he's a consultant for energy efficiency and electronics, which is pretty cool. He's going to share an interesting voyage of personal sustainability, living on one planet a day. Matt Malinowski.
Great. Thank you, Jared. The voyage is still continuing, but as I'm sure all of you noticed past couple of days, it's been hot here, and not just here in DC, but everywhere. And this is caused by carbon dioxide in the atmosphere that we've been emitting for about the past 200 years. The way to stop the warming, to limit it to a tolerable level, is to cap the concentration at around 350 parts per million. And there's a couple ways to do that. You can either do it slower or faster, but folks agree that the way that's most likely to succeed is to limit our global emissions of CO2 to 44 billion tons by 2020, which would translate to around 6 tons for each person on the planet. Of course, there's some other things you need to worry about. In addition to climate change up top, we have extinctions and nitrogen cycles. But let's just start light, just carbon dioxide. So what do you do, right? If you're like me, you go to the list of stuff white people like, and you get behind all of them. But how good does it actually work, right? So I decided to put my stuff into the calculators that are online, footprint calculators, and it's kind of embarrassing. Apparently, if everyone lived like me, it would take 5 Earths to sustain all of us on the whole planet. And the goal is to stay within your budget, one planet, live every day as though that were all you had. Even taking some of the advice suggested by the websites still gives you about 4 planets. So, it's going to be a little tough, I think. And, it being tough, I went, got some secondary opinions. I went to a whole host of carbon calculators, including ones for kids. Apparently, kids aren't so innocent either. The girls are doing a little bit better than boys, okay? But then I saw, well, what about different places? Apparently, if you take my habits and you transport me to China, it's 1.5 planets a day. So that's a little bit better. And part of the explanation is that there's a whole host of impacts that we're not directly responsible for, things like military, healthcare, our infrastructure. Here's how the US ranks on, compared to a host of other countries in expenditures per capita. We're not quite the United Arab Emirates, but it's going to take us some time, or some organic doctors. One example of what you can do is Britain. First of all, they changed their Department of Energy to Department of Energy and Climate Change, right? No more denial. Second is they actually have a path to get everybody down to around 7.5 tons, pretty close to that 6-ton target that I was talking about by 2020. So things are looking up in Britain. But, not as rosy at home here. Our energy policy kind of imploded last year. Things are still happening at the local and state level, so something may still rise from the ashes. But I think, we talked about the energy for the services we use, the carbon for those services. What about using less or fewer of those services, right? And I just showed that good intentions are not enough, right? It's going to take some hard choices. 6 tons of carbon, what is that? That's about the average eating habits of an American or driving habits of the American. So it's gonna take a little bit of choosing and definitely a lot of creativity. I'm sure there are some fashion designers out here, right? So let's help us get out of these clown suits, right, into something a little more comfortable. And maybe we can also turn up our thermostats just a tad, Look for these types of cascading effects. Everybody can be involved. If you're an event planner, think about how can you get people to travel not quite as far. One is it'll lower the impact, and second, it will help them stay local, more rooted to their communities. And I think that's an important lesson. These are the most sustainable people in America today, right? There's a lot that can be learned from traditional cultures, from their emphasis on seasonality, on locality, on family, and good lessons. Question is, how do you keep us happy? Red is happier on this map. I think overall, Americans are doing okay. So what lessons can we, in terms of happiness, but what lessons can we adopt from these other cultures to teach us? So I hope you'll join me in implementing some of these technological, political, and sartorial innovations as we all try to live on one planet a day. Thank you.